The evolution period from being the fake, unhealthy you to being the healthy, real you. Have you ever worried about, man, I'm so used to being an actor around other people. What's going to happen when I start just being myself? They're going to think, what's wrong with you? You always used to be so happy and cheerful or whatever, and now you're not bouncing off walls anymore. So what's going on? Well, that happened to me. My very good friend's name is Jeff. We've been friends since I was a kid, and when I get around him, I always put on this act of being like this really adventurous guy, comical, everything's funny, everything's a joke. I'm not scared of anything, willing to take any risk, real playful, all this stuff. So I remember, no matter how I felt, putting on this show for him all the time, every time I was around him. And I remember him saying to me, near the end of my authentic recovery, he said to me, I miss the old Brian. That guy was always excited and, high energy. And I remember thinking, I didn't say this to him, but I remember thinking, yeah, but that wasn't the real me. That was an act. It was an act I was putting on every time I was around you. It was exhausting to maintain that all of the time. So he and I obviously are still, very, very good friends, almost best friends, I'd say. But, where I'm from, you can have like 10 best friends. So he's one of my best friends. There was a period of him becoming accustomed to the real me. We had to go through that. And, the real me was somebody he had never got to meet before. I had never got to be that guy before, the real me. So there was this period of adjustment of him going from, I miss the old Brian, this high, excited and high energy guy, to the real me, who one day I'm high energy, the next day I'm laid back. It's just, I'm not playing a role no more. But I think that now he'd tell you that he likes knowing the real, healthy me much, much better. The real me, the healthy me, for example, no longer gets furious over minor disagreements. Oh, if he thought peanut butter was better than jelly, and I disagreed with that, we would get into a big fight over that. I mean, I would get angry over any minor disagreement like that. So now the real me, the healthy me, I no longer get furious over people's opinions. It's so subjective. An opinion is so subjective. Oh, you think peanut butter's better? Well, then that reveals something to me about you that allows me to know you even better. I celebrate that now. Never used to. I don't insist on being quote-unquote right every time we talk about things that are matters of opinion. I'm quick to admit that your opinion might have some greater merit than even mine does. I'm quick to admit that when I might be wrong. I'm not as competitive with him, and I enjoy doing things like playing sports or card games simply for the enjoyment of the time I get to spend with him. He can win every game, and I might get frustrated at that, but my real reason for being there is not to win. It's just the enjoyment of being there with my friend, and I actually get enjoyment from seeing him win time after time. I'm much more laid back and natural. I'm not worried about appearing cool 24 hours a day. I'm less judgmental toward him and his life. I don't poke my head into his life beyond what he offers me. The list goes on and on. I enjoy my friendship with him much, much more because it's no longer exhausting to maintain this artificial, likable facade for every second that he's around me. It used to be like a literal switch that I'd have to turn on every time he was around, and it was exhausting. And because I did that for so many years. Do you know what happened? I became obligated to play that role every time I was around him, no matter how I felt. If I felt tired or angry or bothered or sad, and he showed up, it didn't matter how I felt. I had to click on that switch and go into, the tap dance role. Hello, my mother. Hello, my father. Because I was playing a role. It's weird. It's like an actor with a contractual obligation to play a role for a theater every time the curtains go up. So the only people who did not gradually come to accept the new, I say new, but it wasn't the new me, it was just the real me, were people who were unhealthy themselves. And the reason why they didn't like the real me is because before, they were probably taking advantage of me. They were taking advantage of me being unhealthy. So once I put an end to that, you can see why they didn't like the real me. That I wasn't there for them to take advantage of no more. And so this worrying about, they won't like me anymore. What are you talking about? If you're worried about, if I'm the real me, if I stop this facade and I start being the real me, they're not going to like me anymore. What are you talking about? They don't like you now. They don't like you now. They like the character you're playing, but they don't like you. You want them to like you. And if they don't like you, you don't need them. Let them go. It's like Bruce Willis. Can you imagine Bruce Willis working all day as a cop in the movies, coming home, and the only way he can get people to like him is if he continues playing that cop? Boy, wouldn't that get exhausting? It does get exhausting. Don't be like a Bruce Willis stuck in the role of an action cop, even in his personal life. That's just sad. Orange Slices are brief highlights from the Last Symptom podcast. Subscribe to full audio episodes of the show on any major podcast platform such as Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, Amazon Music, and more. While I've got you chewing on that, like this video, pretty please. Might as well press subscribe while you're at it. I bet you a nickel you know somebody who's overdue for hearing some of these things, so go on, forward this video to them.